Imagine this. You've spent months preparing for the biggest moment of your child's life, only for everything to be destroyed in an instant. They turned off the music, and my daughter cried on stage. This is how my world turned upside down in front of a crowd, and trust me, it wasn't what I expected. My daughter's recital was supposed to be her moment of glory, but instead, it turned into a nightmare. But before we continue, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell for updates. Lily had been practicing this routine for weeks. Every evening, she danced in front of the living room mirror, always so eager to get it perfect. I'd cheer her on, telling her how amazing she was going to be on that stage. I had no doubt that she'd shine. This recital was a big deal to her. It was her first major performance, and I couldn't help but get emotional. I wanted to be there for her, to see her succeed. We'd spent so much time getting ready for this. But little did I know, this night was going to be anything but what we imagined. The auditorium was buzzing with excitement. Friends, family, classmates, everyone had gathered to see the kids perform. As the lights dimmed and the music started, Lily took her spot center stage, a huge smile lighting up her face. But then, something happened that would haunt me for the rest of my life. The music cut out, and just like that, the entire room fell into an uncomfortable silence. I was confused at first, but the moment I saw Lily's face, I knew something was terribly wrong. What made it worse wasn't just the silence. It was that I could see her little face twist in confusion, then fear. She stopped moving, and the panic in her eyes was unmistakable. My heart sank. This wasn't just a mistake. It was a complete failure of everyone who was supposed to be there to support her. My baby, standing there, vulnerable in front of an entire audience, felt the weight of the moment crashing down. And that's when I realized the worst part wasn't the music cutting out. It was my family. They didn't rush to fix it. They didn't comfort Lily when she started to tear up. No, they walked out, laughing. Yes, my own family. And they didn't even look back. You might be wondering how things could get worse. Trust me, they did. The next day, something happened that changed everything for my family. It was like karma, and it hit them harder than they ever expected. Stay with me, because you won't believe what came next. You might think this was just an accident, right? A simple mistake. But no, this wasn't a mistake. It was intentional, and I had no idea how deep the betrayal ran. The night started off like any other recital, nervous energy mixed with excitement. Lily had worked so hard, and I was beaming with pride as she lined up backstage. As a mother, I couldn't have been more thrilled to see her so confident. After all, she had spent countless hours rehearsing this dance, and I knew how important it was to her. But as she walked onto that stage, I could feel the weight of the moment. It was everything to her, and everything to me. My family had promised to be there. My mom, Elaine, and my brother, John, had all agreed to show up and support Lily. Of course, I had my doubts about them being present, especially with the tension that had been brewing for months. Elaine always had something critical to say about everything I did, and John, well, he never seemed to care about family events. But I thought, this time would be different. Lily had earned it, and I needed their support. As the lights dimmed and the music started, my mom and brother were seated right in the front row, right where they could see everything clearly. But they didn't seem to care. I could feel them watching, but something about their expressions felt off. Elaine seemed almost bored, flipping through her phone as Lily danced. And John? He looked like he was half paying attention, his eyes glued to the screen of his phone, scrolling through messages. Really? This was the moment my daughter had been waiting for, and they couldn't even put their phones down for her? As Lily danced, I glanced over at my family. My mom exchanged a few words with John under her breath, and that's when I noticed something. Something strange. My mom wasn't even watching Lily. She was talking about something, and I swear I saw a small smirk on her face. It was as if she didn't care at all. Was she mocking this moment? I tried to brush it off, but my stomach twisted with a sick feeling. Lily was out there, giving it her all, and my family was just sitting there, barely noticing. I started to feel this growing sense of anxiety, like something wasn't right. Lily had no idea. She was twirling, smiling, so full of joy. She didn't know her grandma and uncle were texting through the whole thing. I remember thinking, this is my baby's moment, her first big performance, the culmination of all her hard work. Yet, with every beat of the music, I could feel the distance growing between me and my family. The crowd was applauding as Lily finished her routine, and I couldn't help but cheer the loudest. But just as I was about to wrap my arms around her, I noticed something. My mom and brother weren't clapping. They were too busy getting up from their seats and heading out of the auditorium. What was going on? And then it happened. Right as Lily was about to take her bow, the music stopped. It was a complete silence in the room. Lily froze, her smile fading, and I could see the confusion and fear creeping across her face. I ran toward the stage, but before I could even reach her, I saw my family leave the room, laughing. Laughing? I couldn't believe my eyes. How could they just walk out? My daughter was heartbroken on that stage, and my family was walking out like it was no big deal. The worst part? That was just the beginning. At that moment, I was torn. I didn't know whether to stay with Lily, comforting her, or confront my family for what they had just done. But little did I know, the consequences of their actions were about to unfold in a way I never could have imagined. I rushed to the stage, trying to stay calm as I reached my daughter. Her eyes were red from crying, and she couldn't even look at me. I tried to give her a hug, but she pulled away, too embarrassed to even face the crowd. I could feel her disappointment, the sting of betrayal in her little heart. As I tried to console her backstage, I kept hearing whispers from the audience. People were confused. Some were even angry. I overheard a parent say, "What kind of family leaves their child like that?" My face flushed with embarrassment. How was I supposed to explain this? How was I supposed to tell Lily that her own family, people who should have been cheering for her, didn't care enough to stay? I told Lily it wasn't her fault. It was hard, though. As much as I wanted to protect her from the truth, deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that my family had intentionally sabotaged this night. I took a deep breath and decided I needed to confront them. They couldn't just get away with this. I stormed out of the backstage area, only to find my mom and brother standing in the lobby, acting like nothing happened. My mom was chatting with some of her friends, casually sipping on a drink, as though she hadn't just abandoned her granddaughter on stage. And John? He was laughing with a few guys from his gym class. I felt this wave of anger rush over me. How dare they? I approached them, my voice shaking with fury. "What the hell was that?" I demanded. Elaine barely looked at me. "It was a disaster. She's fine," she said dismissively. John added, "She'll get over it. It's not a big deal." That's when I realized they didn't even care. My mom acted like it was nothing, and my brother couldn't even be bothered to look me in the eye. They weren't going to apologize. They didn't even understand why I was upset. You don't get it, do you? I said through gritted teeth, trying to keep my voice steady. She's your niece. She's 7 years old, and you ruined this for her. But Elaine just scoffed. Oh, please, Sarah. Kids these days are too sensitive. She'll be fine. I was furious. I couldn't believe how cold they were. They didn't even seem to care that they had hurt Lily. My daughter was devastated, and instead of comforting her, they were acting like I was overreacting. I knew this would cause a rift in our family, but I had no idea just how deep it would go. As my mom and brother walked out, I realized this wasn't just about a recital. It was about how little they respected me and my family, and how their behavior would destroy the very foundation of our relationships. But that wasn't the worst part. No, the worst part came the next morning. The phone rang, and when I picked it up, I wasn't ready for the shock that followed. Someone from the school had called, and things were about to get much worse. Stay tuned, because what came next changed everything. When I heard the voice on the other end of the line, I thought I was going to lose it. It was the teacher. But what she said left me speechless. Apparently, my family's actions had made waves far beyond that recital. The voice on the other end of the phone was calm but concerned. It was Mrs. Walker, Lily's dance teacher. Sarah, I just wanted to check in with you. I'm sure you noticed what happened during the recital, and I'm sure it must have been upsetting. I could hear the hesitation in her voice. I didn't want to bring this up, but some of the parents were talking. They saw what happened, and it's spreading. They're wondering why Lily was left alone on stage, and why your family seemed so dismissive. I was stunned. The embarrassment that had already started to sink in the night before now felt like it was about to consume me. Lily's recital wasn't just ruined for her. It was now a topic of gossip among the other parents. I felt sick. The reality of what my family had done was starting to hit me. This wasn't just a family drama anymore. It was a public spectacle. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how badly it reflected on Lily. My daughter, who had worked so hard, was now the center of a story no one should have been telling about her. The whispers in the hallway, the sideways glances in the school parking lot, it all became too much. How was I supposed to face those other parents when their kids were now talking about what had happened? Mrs. Walker was kind enough to try to ease my concerns, but it was clear that the damage had been done. Lily's a strong girl, Sarah, she said. But she's hearing what others are saying. She's picking up on the tension. Maybe you should talk to her. I ended the call, my head spinning. As if the situation wasn't bad enough, that night I noticed something different in Lily. She was withdrawn, barely speaking. She wasn't the bubbly, energetic girl I knew. She seemed to be carrying a heavy weight on her small shoulders, something she shouldn't have to bear. I thought I could protect her, but now it felt like the world had just gotten even colder. And it wasn't just me who felt the impact. Lily's friends had started to ask her questions, and the teachers were starting to notice the shift in her attitude. It was clear. What had happened the night before was beginning to affect her beyond the recital. But then, just when I thought things couldn't get worse, I received an unexpected call from my mom. And the words she said next would blow my mind. Stay tuned, because what happened next? Well, you won't believe it. The call from my mom was unexpected. I braced myself for an apology, but instead, Elaine was in full damage control mode. Sarah, I need to talk to you, she started, her voice surprisingly calm. I heard about the way the other parents have been gossiping about Lily. I just want to say that what happened last night wasn't as big of a deal as you're making it out to be. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. After everything, after the tears, the shame, the way she abandoned her granddaughter on stage, she was trying to downplay it. Elaine, how could you? You walked out on her. She needed you and you left her alone in front of everyone. Elaine tried to justify her actions, but deep down, I knew this wasn't just about the recital anymore. It was about the kind of family we were becoming, and the damage that had been done wasn't something that could be easily fixed. As for John, he didn't even bother calling. I realized then that it wasn't just about the recital or the music cutting out. It was about how my family had repeatedly shown their lack of respect and support for me and my daughter. The tension had been building for years, and this was the breaking point. For Lily, things weren't much better. The next day at school, she told me her friends had stopped talking to her. Some even teased her about what happened at the recital. She was hurt, confused, and embarrassed, feelings no child should ever have to face. I couldn't stand to see her like that, but in that moment, something clicked. I knew I had to protect her, even if it meant standing up to my own family. So, I decided to take action. I called the school principal and scheduled a meeting to make sure Lily's reputation wouldn't be destroyed by her family's behavior. It wasn't just about repairing Lily's image. It was about making sure she knew she was loved, valued, and supported by the right people. That was the only thing that mattered now. The consequences for my mom and brother were immediate. Word spread. It wasn't long before other family members reached out, expressing their disappointment. Some of them even chose sides, those who agreed with my stance on family loyalty, and those who felt that Elaine and John were justified in their actions. But the most shocking consequence came from the school. After the meeting with the principal, Lily received an outpouring of support from her classmates. The teachers rallied behind her, assuring her that she had not done anything wrong. The school even offered her a chance to perform again at the next assembly, this time with the full support of the staff. My mom and brother, on the other hand, felt the weight of their actions. Elaine was ostracized by the family, and John's friendships with other relatives began to deteriorate as well. The damage was done. They had lost more than just the trust of their family. They had lost any remaining sense of respect. As for me and Lily, we came out stronger. The next few weeks weren't easy, but I made sure she understood that what happened at the recital didn't define her. She was an amazing dancer, an amazing girl, and she deserved people who truly cared for her. Our relationship grew even closer. I promised myself I'd always be there for her, no matter what. The experience had shown me how far my family was willing to go to hurt us, but it also reminded me that sometimes the people who matter most aren't the ones you're related to. They're the ones who stand by you when things get tough. The next time Lily performed, I was in the front row, cheering her on, and this time, she knew her mom was her biggest supporter. And nothing could take that away.